Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. Today we're kicking off with a theme that was frankly such a flop in 2025 that I didn't even really think to put it in any of my predictions for 2026. I'm talking, of course, about AI wearables. In 2025, we got the Humane AI pin, which Marques Brownlee called the worst product he's ever reviewed. We also got the Rabbit R1, which while technically still around, has certainly failed to make any sort of dent. Then there were things like the Limitless pendant, which is gone now that Limitless was acquired by Meta. And of course, Friend, which has been mostly notable for the anti-AI vandalism all over its subway ads in New York City. Still, this week's CES in Vegas sees the launch of multiple new AI wearables that all seek in some way to improve on the original formula. One of those is Claude, who is releasing their updated notepin S. The hardware is essentially the same as the original notepin, which was released in 2024. It records audio and provides users with AI transcription. The only major change is the addition of a button to replace haptic controls. Instead of squeezing the device to begin a recording, users can now simply press a button to reduce the risk of failing to record. Users can also use the button to flag important moments in the recording. And while that may seem like a small change, frankly, a lot of the problems with the previous generation were not always that people were unwilling to try them, but that they didn't work all that well when they did. Writes The Verge, AI recorders like this live or die by ease of use, so removing a little friction gives Claude better odds of survival. In addition to the new device, Claude is also launching a desktop app for meeting recordings, allowing users to have one ecosystem for all their note-taking needs. The new device is slotted in at $179, which is a $20 price bump from their original notepin, which will be phased out of production. Home automation startup SwitchBot is also stepping into the AI note-taking space with their mindclip device. SwitchBot is pitching the device as a second brain, allowing users to convert their voice notes into to-do lists and daily summaries. The device weighs just 18 grams, so is intended to be extremely unobtrusive. Few details have been revealed so far, with no pricing for the device or the accompanying cloud service. Now, one theme that's interesting to me is the degree to which this next generation of wearables is refining their focus and basically just trying to compete in the AI note-taking space that is an increasingly standard use case. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm super bullish on this, as I'm someone who is constantly transcribing voice notes to myself while walking and on the go, and has no problem doing it via phone. But who knows, I might just be too much of a boomer for these new form factors. Overall, I wouldn't be surprised to see some rush launches of new devices this year, trying to get in ahead of the anticipated OpenAI devices, which people expect to come in 2027. Moving over to a very different topic, China is seeing early success using AI as a cancer diagnostic tool. The New York Times reported on a pilot being run in a Chinese hospital where AI is being used to screen routine CT scans for tumors. They highlighted one case where a 57-year-old was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer before he had any symptoms. Now, pancreatic cancer is one of the most dangerous forms, with a 5-year survival rate of just 10%. And that's purely because early diagnosis is so difficult. Symptoms typically don't appear until the cancer is in an advanced stage and are unable to be easily treated. Normal diagnostic scans require the use of radioactive dyes, so widespread screening isn't safe. In the highlighted case, AI was used to detect tumors without the use of dyes, unlocking a powerful new screening tool. Now, this particular hospital has been running their clinical trial since November 2024 and have so far analyzed 180,000 scans. Around 24 cases of pancreatic cancer were detected, with around 14 detected in the early stages. All of these patients were in the hospital with unrelated complaints and weren't initially referred to a pancreatic cancer specialist. Dr. Zhu Kele, who is overseeing the trial, commented, "I think you can 100% say AI saved their lives." Now, moving on to our next story, one of the fascinating things about AI is the extent to which it blows apart the "we wanted flying cars, we got 140 characters" dialectic of technology building. What I mean by that is that AI is being used from everything from the worst use cases to the best use cases all at once. And unfortunately, on the opposite end of the spectrum from the Chinese cancer diagnosis AI is the issues that X is having with overly sexualized photos of women and minors. These issues are now getting louder as global governments try to crack down. Over the past few days, France and Malaysia have joined India in condemning XAI for allowing Grok to generate obscene content. On Friday, India's IT ministry ordered X to fix Grok and restrict the generation of, quote, nudity, sexualization, sexually explicit, or otherwise unlawful content. The order came after a formal complaint from an Indian politician who complained that Grok was being used to alter images of women without their consent, placing them in bikinis. Grok's mass undressing spree seems to have begun sometime last week and includes examples of minors being depicted partially undressed. In one example, users were able to use Grok to remove clothing from images of 14-year-old Stranger Things actress Nell Fisher. Elon Musk so far has not addressed the press on the issue, but did post on Saturday, anyone using Grok to make illegal content will suffer the same consequences as if they uploaded illegal content. Notably, the issue doesn't appear to be merely about users getting more brazen with Grok, but rather a change in moderation policy. In the back half of last year, Grok previously would reject requests to undress images of real people, but those safeguards appear to have been rolled back. Whether this was a deliberate choice or a technical error, we don't yet know. And while XAI executives haven't spoken to the scandal, employee Parsa Tajik did acknowledge the issue and said, "The team is looking into further tightening our guardrails." Lastly today, a little internal drama for the peanut gallery back there. Yann Lecun doesn't think much of Meta's AI strategy and is quite comfortable telling us so. For over a decade, the Turing Award winner was the leader of Meta's AI division. However, last summer, AI shakeup left him on the outs, finally announcing his departure in November. Speaking with the Financial Times, Lecun doesn't believe much will come of Meta's expensive new AI team. Deadpan, he commented, "The future will say whether that was a good idea or not." Lecun referred to the new AI CEO Alexander Wang as young and inexperienced, adding, "He learns fast, he knows what he doesn't know, but there's no experience with research or how you practice research, how you do it, or what would be attractive or repulsive to a researcher." Evidently, Yann fell on the repulsive side, as he complained, "Alex isn't telling me what to do either. You don't tell a researcher what to do. You certainly don't tell a researcher like me what to do." Now, outside of the psychodrama around the personnel, the interview served as another chance for Yann to reinforce his argument that LLMs ain't it and that world models are key to the next generation of AI. Indeed, isolating a singular reason for his resignation, Lecun said that the entire Meta superintelligence team were, quote, completely LLM-pilled. He said, "I'm sure there's lots of people at Meta, including perhaps Alex, who would like me to not tell the world that LLMs are basically a dead end when it comes to superintelligence. But I'm not going to change my mind because some dude thinks I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. My integrity as a scientist cannot allow me to do this." Now, the interview had numerous other bombshells, including an admission that Llama 4 had fudged, his words, the benchmarks a little bit. And although ostensibly the interview was about Lecun's new startup, his airing of grievances dominated the coverage. We did get a new name for the company, which is Advanced Machine Intelligence Labs, and we also learned that Alex Lebrun, the founder of French healthcare AI startup Nabla, will serve as co-founder and CEO. Lecun also revealed that the startup was targeting a $3 billion valuation in initial fundraising. And while a lot of the discourse ultimately was just about the pot shots, I liked Dr. Kareem Carr's take, who said, "Strange that people in tech don't see it as good that someone of Yann Lecun's stature is taking the anti-LLM side. Any serious scientific endeavor needs genuine oppositional friction. Everyone being on the same page is how fields stagnate. This is good news for AI, not bad." I think that's a great take, and that is where we will leave these headlines. Next up, the main episode.